Hey guys, welcome back to another video. Today we will be talking about Kamala Harris's late surge in this election, and you can just see it clearly here. The election forecasters, the analysts, they are all releasing their final election forecasts. Happy election day, by the way. So obviously they're coming out with their final map forecasts. And as you could just see here from The Economist, in their forecast, Kamala Harris, yes, a narrow chance, but it is much better from where she was just a week ago. She stands at a 56% chance of winning the election, according to The Economist, to Donald Trump's 43%. That is a significant margin. 46 to 43, a 13-point lead in terms of chances to win the presidency. That is really significant. And you can just see how this is, in fact, a surge, a skyrocket in support. Over the past week, she has gained 12 percentage points in terms of her chances. She was down at 46% just a week ago. So to see her climb 12 points all the way up to not only the lead, but a strong lead with a 56% chance of winning the election, that is very significant. That is very good for her. And just since yesterday, this is insane. Just since yesterday, something has prompted Kamala Harris to absolutely skyrocket. That 12 over the past 7 days, well, 6% of that was just from yesterday. Yesterday, it was a 50-50 race. Today, it stands at 56 to 43. She is projected from The Economist to get 276 electoral votes, Trump at 262. So this would be the blue wall plus the state of Nevada. That's what The Economist is forecasting right now. And we're going to get to it all. The 538 forecast agrees, basically. Oops, not that. But the Cook Political Report and Split Ticket agree as well. Even the betting markets agree to some extent. But before we do, I just want to say that this is really, something that we have felt just based off of the vibes and the data that we see day to day in the days leading up to election day. There was a really profound vibe shift in my mind when it was at the Madison Square Garden rally. At that rally, Donald Trump was really at his peak. He was at his peak that throughout this race, he was, in the best position to win than he has been in a while since Kamala Harris became a Democratic candidate. And then the Puerto Rico comment, of course, came out. There was massive backlash, and that negative coverage really prompted something where the Trump campaign sort of fell apart. Donald Trump became more unhinged when he spoke. And not only that, the polling really got better for Kamala Harris. And you wouldn't see this type of momentum for Kamala Harris so late, in the election, right? Plus 12% in the last 7 days alone, if that didn't have an impact. I think that Madison Square Garden rally, whether it may have been because of the Puerto Rico comment or whatever, too long ago, I forget what was said, or the vast majority of speakers being men, like 35 out of 41 or something, whatever it may have been, it made undecideds break for Harris. That's what I think happened, because the polls after that rally really started to shift, and that is why you see forecasts shift like this. It really prompted something where a large portion of undecided voters made up their minds, and it was for Kamala Harris. So The Economist says Harris, 56% chance of winning the election, 43% chance for Trump. I assume that last remaining 1% would be a 269 to 269 electoral tie. As for 538, for the first time, I'm surprised this isn't getting more attention, honestly, for what it's worth. It's still a close race. But 538 has been extremely harsh on Harris in terms of her chances throughout this race. But for the first time since, I hope it tells us, since October 17th, Harris is projected to win. Trump has held a lead every day since October 18th. On October 18th, he took a lead of 271 electoral votes. Ever since then, he has retained his lead. At his peak, he was all the way up to 278 to Harris's 260. Today, on the final day of the campaign, Harris flips it. She is now at 270. She's expected to win the blue wall and nothing else. Trump wins 268. You can see it is 50 to 49. Does not get much closer than that in 538's forecast. Harris is projected to win by them. And again, these are final forecasts. This is not just an update. No, these are the final chances that each forecast gives Harris and Trump to win. Looking at the states, what's cool about 538 is that they give us the probabilities of each state going to each respective candidate. You can see at the top. And you see Wisconsin And Michigan, strong chances of a Kamala Harris victory. You see that Michigan is actually out of the toss-up range. She has a 61% chance of winning Michigan. That is pretty important considering that this is still a state that Donald Trump is really trying to target. His last rally last night was in Grand Rapids, Michigan, the same place he ended his 2016 and 2020 campaigns. Very symbolic, but this state might be more out of reach for him now than it ever has been. It's out of the toss up range. And then you see, Wisconsin is almost right out of the toss up range, 59% chance of Harris winning. And then you get to Pennsylvania. And as of now, this could update throughout the day, but it says 50-50. But apparently, Harris is favored to win. So when you look at chances, by less than a percentage point, Harris is expected to win Pennsylvania because they do give her 270. That means that she wins Pennsylvania, looking at how the other states go. So it's literally 50-50 according to 538 in Pennsylvania. I personally think that Harris is really favored in Pennsylvania. I'm extremely confident that Harris takes Michigan and Pennsylvania, and not as confident as many other forecasters that she takes Wisconsin. I think that Wisconsin will be closer than Pennsylvania, and honestly, I'm pretty confident of that. Next up, we have Nevada, where again it is 50-50. Could you imagine this? But apparently, Trump wins it. Again, Harris takes 270. This would mean that Harris takes the blue wall and nothing else. Well, the blue states, but no other swing states. So apparently, Trump is slightly favored by less than a percentage point in Nevada. Arizona, very positive chance for Donald Trump. 67% chance of winning in Arizona. Georgia, a bit closer, still in the toss-up range. A 60% chance of winning Georgia. And North Carolina in the toss-up range, 59% chance. But, take all this with a grain of salt. In Arizona, I saw a post the other day. Carrie Lake had the exact same chance of winning the gubernatorial election in Arizona, according to 538, than does Trump right now of winning the state in the presidential election. If you don't know, Carrie Lake would go on to somehow lose the election to a candidate who didn't debate, didn't campaign, barely had any money, Katie Hobbs, who is now the governor. So that's five. That is 538's final forecast. This is very strong for Kamala Harris for the first time in weeks. In weeks since October 17th. What is that? 20 days almost. Kamala Harris is projected to win in 538. In The Economist, I'm sure this is a new high. They don't give us graph to see how the race has changed over time, but this has got to be a new high for Kamala Harris. Obviously not all-time high, but in the past few weeks, this has got to be her high. Then you have some more forecasts. You got Split Ticket. What do they say? Kamala Harris wins the election. Once again, another forecast saying she wins exactly 270 electoral votes. She has a 57% chance in Wisconsin, lines up almost exactly with 538, 61% chance in Michigan, lines up almost exactly with 538, and then 53% chance in Pennsylvania, lines up almost exactly with 538. They also say Nevada is 50-50. It could go either way. Also lines up with 538, literally to the dot. And then they say Arizona, Georgia, and North Carolina, all Donald Trump near 60% chances. So again, very similar. Very, very similar to the chances that 538 gives. And then we have what? Then we have Larry Sabato's crystal ball. This is what, University of Virginia or something. They released their final forecast. What do you see? Kamala Harris wins. She takes the blue wall, Wisconsin, Michigan, Pennsylvania, and adds Nevada. That's 276 electoral votes. Still a narrow race, but she wins. So we just looked through 4 electoral forecasts. The Economist, Harris wins 276. 538, Harris wins 270. Larry Sabato's crystal ball, Harris wins 270. Split Ticket, well, I won't get to it. But Split Ticket, Harris wins 270. So in all 4 forecasts on the final day of the campaign, this was not the case at all. Just a few days ago, literally 3 or 4 days ago, Trump was leading in many of these forecasts. Right now, on the final day of the campaign, Harris is expected to win in every single electoral forecast. That is pretty interesting. That is a strong sign for Kamala Harris because, point being, it's extremely unlikely that 4 reputable forecasters, The Economist, 538, Split Ticket, Larry Sabato's Crystal Ball, where this is their job, right? This is their business, where they all get it wrong. Yes, there are narrow wins, but she wins in all of them. It would have to be a substantial error, a substantial underestimation of Donald Trump for him to win. And I don't think that's possible at this point because pollsters are literally admitting now that they sort of skew their results to make it 50-50 because they are afraid of underestimating Trump again. That's what they are saying. They have said this publicly. Like New York Times said that publicly. And, this is all a play. Polling is a business. And this is just a play to make it 50-50. Say, oh, each candidate has the same percentage chance to win. So then when someone wins, it's like, oh, we called it, 50-50. Yep, we called it. Someone was going to win then. Yep, we got that one right. It's all a play so that so that they're not off in the election. They all want to have the same poll results so that no one is wrong, right? So that there is still a business and no one really excels. That is why all polls that you see so many polls 49 to 49, 50 to 50, 48 to 48, tied, or someone up by one, or someone up by, or the other person up by one. That all means nothing. They're trying to get it as even as possible because they don't want to be wrong. So polling, is included so heavily in these forecasts. I mean, obviously, polling makes up the vast majority of what a forecast says. So, yes, this is my final forecast. Now, those are their final forecasts. This is mine. I think that Kamala Harris, New Jersey safe, by the way, I think that Kamala Harris takes all 7 battleground states. That's my final prediction. And again, it's because in reality, I don't think that the polling should be 50-50. I really don't. It doesn't make any sense to me. I don't think it will be. By the way, Texas and Florida are lean. I was doing something the other day. And Iowa and Ohio. And this is my final forecast. As well as Kansas and Missouri. Likely, and Nebraska's first. So, I don't think that it is 50-50 because these forecasts take into account polling so much, which all indicates 50-50. I mean, Nate Silver ran the numbers, and there's something like a 1 in 7 trillion chance that in a completely normal election with no skewing of results, the polls should be this close together in terms of how close they project the race to be and how basically every poll says the race will be this close, basically tied. He ran the numbers. A 1 in 7 trillion chance. What does that mean? It means that they're purposely skewing their results. They're trying to get it as even as possible. So when someone wins, they say, yeah, we called it. We didn't get it wrong. That is what they're doing. 1 in 7 trillion chance. So clearly something more is going on here. And I think that Kamala Harris's lead is more 319 to 219. This is my final prediction, locking it in now. So thank you all for watching. Make sure to go out and vote if you haven't already today. That's, of course, extremely important. Drop a like on this video. Drop a comment to let me hear your thoughts. And I will see you all probably later today, maybe tomorrow. We'll see. Bye.